It looks like we've caught this very early.
Caught what exactly, Doc?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 times Degrassi tackled serious issues.
I don't want you hearing all this.
I know what happened.
Not the details.
For this list, we're looking at the most significant times when Degrassi The Next Generation showcased difficult, real-world issues people face. Plot points will be discussed, so consider this your spoiler alert. What did you learn from watching Degrassi? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, Adam's transition. Shortly after Chaz Bono made headlines for his transition, Degrassi decided to highlight the plight of everyday trans men in their show.
Fly under the radar for now, okay?
In high school, Mom, no such thing. Besides, being in recreation class shines its own special spotlight.
Someone could find out, Adam, and if they do, they could really hurt you.
The representation was pretty revolutionary for a mainstream series at the time, even though it did uncritically show some dangerous practices. In the two-part episode My Body is a Cage, Degrassi addressed Adam's insecurities about his body and continued menstruation.
Why do you have tampons?
Hey, Adam, drop something?
Claire, pick up your stuff. That's nasty.
The series also directly deals with different kinds of real-world transphobia, showing physical altercations with classmates, as well as private misgendering from family members. These events are shown to take a toll on Adam and help audiences understand how important it is to accept and uplift trans people in their real lives.
I just don't understand.
You don't have to. Just accept.
Accept what? That your life is gonna be hard?
Mom, it's hardest when I'm Gracie. If I'm gonna get through it, I need you to see me as Adam, your son.
Number 19, Emma is catfished. Degrassi The Next Generation doesn't waste any time, jumping headfirst into a story about predatory catfishing in its premiere episodes. Unbeknownst to her mother, Emma has been emailing with a boy online.
Jordan's coming here. You have to meet him. It's fate.
Who's Jordan? Some creep Emma met on the net. I bet he lives in Scarborough and works at a video store. I bet he's 40 and drools.
Her friends are wary of the internet romance, but she ignores their concerns and decides to meet up with the boy in person. And every parent's worst nightmare comes true when she follows an adult man up to his hotel room.
I couldn't tell you my real age. I thought you'd stop writing me.
I want to go home.
Okay, but you can't go home if you're locked in the bathroom.
Thankfully, Emma's friends mobilize, and her mother and Snake are able to find and save her before anything too bad happens. Still, the lesson is clear. Kids should never meet up with strangers they've met online.
So he's going to jail?
Oh, yeah. And when this comes back, keep it downstairs. Keep the cyberstalkers out of her room.
Number 18, Emma's eating disorder. In Degrassi's 5th season, Emma's home life is on the rocks. Her mother and Snake are broken up, and she's been left with more chores and more stress. The stress is doubled when she becomes obsessed with her body.
I am so fat.
Don't even talk about fat. I'm the fat one in this house. All this fast food, no wonder I've gained all this weight.
She begins extreme dieting with Manny, convincing her friend to eat less, exercise more, and even purge with her. Manny eventually leaves the so-called diet behind, but Emma continues, and her habits worsen. She even faints at school.
Did you eat today?
Yes?
What did you eat, Emma?
It all culminates in her loved one staging an intervention that sends her into a panic. At the hospital, she finally vows to change her habits before it's too late. It's a serious look at how serious and dangerous eating disorders truly are.
You have to stop. You have to stop, or you're gonna die.
Number 17, Hazel denies being Muslim. Anti-Muslim sentiment was on the rise in many places, including Canada. Degrassi deals directly with this xenophobia in its 2nd season. In the episode focusing on the school's International Day, Hazel is more of a mean girl than usual, arresting fellow student Fariza for wearing a hijab.
Very funny, Hazel.
This behavior lands her in the principal's office when Fariza's project is destroyed in a deeply offensive manner. Although Hazel isn't the perpetrator, it's revealed that her attitude was the result of her own insecurity.
So, you're Jamaican.
What was your first clue?
Just Aden, not really a common name. Maybe in Somalia.
She's also Muslim and has been lying about being Jamaican. The episode ends with her opening up and finally revealing her true self to the school.
Fariza wears that headscarf thing. How come you don't?
It's a hijab. And I do when I go to mosque. But to take it on full time is a personal and important decision.
Number 16, Liberty puts her baby up for adoption. Before Juno or 16 and Pregnant, Degrassi boldly tackled the controversial subject of teen pregnancy and its repercussions. This was done through the perspective of once model student Liberty Van Zandt, whose baby would be the first carried to term by a teen in the next generation.
Well, that's good to know.
Just like you to make a joke.
That's what you used to like about me, remember? Is that I made jokes.
Yeah, well, everything's changed. I don't have time for jokes. This is serious.
Although Liberty and the father, JT, debate keeping the child, they eventually settle on adoption. This proves difficult for Liberty, who regrets her choice after giving birth.
Was it hard to let him go?
Get out.
I'm sorry. I'm adopted. It's just something I always wondered.
Get out! I mean it!
With papers already signed, she ends up drowning her depression in alcohol. It looks bleak until an adopted classmate suggests she make a memory box for the child to reconnect with her when she gets older. Addressing such a multifaceted topic is not easy, but Degrassi does not shy away from a challenge.
I want the baby to know he had lots of good people thinking of him.
Number 15, Marco is jumped. Many Degrassi episodes helped viewers come to terms with the world around them. This season 3 one helped one of the show's actors understand himself.
You just walked out on a date with one of Degrassi's coolest girls for your mom's pasta sauce? It doesn't make sense.
Yes, it does.
Oh, yeah? Then stop crying and explain it to me, because obviously I'm a moron and don't get it.
Because, man.
Because what?
Because I'm gay.
Pride focuses on Marco, whose girlfriend Ellie is growing tired of being his beard. She pressures him to come out, even though he isn't sure he's ready.
Last year, fine. But I'm not lying anymore. I'm not your girlfriend.
His fears seem to be founded, as he's mistreated by Spinner and even attacked by a group of guys. It's horrifying to say the least. Fortunately, Jimmy reaches out a helping hand, implying hope for the future.
Here, and I'm not going anywhere, okay?
You're all right. You're gonna be okay.
This landmark episode was played with shocking authenticity by Adamo Ruggiero, who was coming to terms with his own sexuality at the same time as his character.
I came out also through Marco, so, we kind of grew up together and we figured it out together. And it was incredible that the show at that time was able to start that conversation.
Number 14, Craig's hotel breakdown and bipolar diagnosis. Craig has been through a lot, dealing with a father who mistreats him. Fortunately, he's saved from his horrific home life when Joey, his stepfather, offers to take him in. Things seem to be going well until the night before his girlfriend Ashley's dad's wedding.
Will you marry me?
I'm sorry, I can't.
No, I actually want you to marry me.
Craig, I'm sorry, no.
Rejected, he lashes out and trashes his hotel room. When he gets back home, he's confronted by Joey, whom he physically fights. This act of violence is the final straw that gets him sent to a hospital, where it's revealed that his erratic behavior was a manic episode.
You're bipolar. You've got a chemical imbalance in your brain, but you're getting help.
His diagnosis marks an important instance of mental health being addressed on Degrassi, something that wasn't too common in 2005.
I'm gonna be managing this for the rest of my life.
Number 13, predatory basketball coach. While Pretty Little Liars uncritically featured a prominent student-teacher relationship throughout its seasons, Degrassi showcased the inherently predatory nature of such dynamics. In Heart Like Mine, Casey begins getting dating advice from his basketball coach, Coach Carson.
One thing I can tell you is you gotta go after the things you want.
Maybe I will.
Give it up for Coach Carson!
It initially appears innocent, and Casey is thankful for the help. But things get weird when Carson invites the student over to watch explicit videos and drink.
Hello, adult pay-per-view. You like blondes, right?
The situation escalates when the coach reveals he owns a weapon and orders an escort. Finally realizing the adult is crossing a line, Casey leaves and reports his former mentor. Carson is promptly dismissed and arrested, as all teachers who act inappropriately with their students should be.
You're right about Carson.
Sorry.
Number 12, Alex's Job. Season 6 of Degrassi follows some of its characters out of high school and into the real world, exploring the financial and familial realities many face.
I mean, I'll work double shifts, but I'm not sure it's gonna be enough, you know?
It's our problem, okay? And we're gonna get through it.
In Don't You Want Me, Alex learns that she and her mom will soon be evicted, as the latter's boyfriend has left them in debt. She makes the difficult decision to begin exotic dancing for money. She tries to convince herself it'll help, but feels guilty lying to her closest friends.
What else aren't you telling me? How bad is it that you have to do this?
I'm doing what I have to do, okay? Just don't worry. And don't be mad, please.
Unfortunately, she returns home one night to find that her mother has spent all of the cash she earned getting her boyfriend out of prison. Thankfully, Alex takes a stand and leaves, moving in with Paige and friends while she finds a place of her own.
I can't go home. I have nothing. Just help me, please.
Sweetie, you have me.
Number 11, Spinner is diagnosed with cancer. It can be difficult for teens to accept similarities they have with their parents. This is especially true for Spinner, who learns he may have cancer, just like his late father.
How long have you had that lump?
I didn't know I had one.
Although he initially tries to deny it, the pain he's in is overwhelming, and he becomes increasingly afraid of what the doctors will tell him. When it's confirmed that he does have testicular cancer, it's absolutely devastating, both for him and the audience.
Okay. Wait, what if I change my mind? No operation, no chemo, then what?
The cancer will spread. You could die in months, maybe weeks.
The Next Generation had dealt with the illness before, when Snake was diagnosed with leukemia, but there was something uniquely shocking about seeing a student deal with such a deadly disease. Thankfully, he eventually beat it, and his arc taught viewers the importance of early detection.
Now, I know it's quite a shock for a man as young as yourself, but I want to assure you that testicular cancer is among the most treatable forms of cancer, with full remission in nearly 90% of cases.
Number 10, Manny's abortion. Degrassi certainly blazed a trail with this plotline. In Accidents Will Happen, Manny realizes she's pregnant and immediately worries about what it'll mean for her future.
Have you thought about what you might do if I can't? It's just way too much.
She babysits with her would-be baby daddy Craig and has serious discussions with adults about her options before coming to the conclusion that abortion is right for her. Abortion was already a hot topic for adults.
Ultimately, the responsibility is yours. So the decision is yours, no one else's.
You mean I don't have to do this if I don't want to?
The episode was temporarily banned from airing in the United States. It wasn't until 2 years later, when Manny's actress Cassie Steele chose the 2-part episode for a Cast Picks marathon, that it would finally be shown to American viewers.
How will I feel after?
Everybody feels differently. Lots of women cry a little. Many feel relieved. As long as you're sure of your decision, then
I'll be okay.
Number 9, Ellie's mental health. Being the child of a colonel in the Army is hard enough. It's even harder when your alcoholic mother becomes neglectful when he's deployed.
Had my interview. Total disaster. My whole day was a disaster.
This is the reality for Ellie Nash, who resorts to self-harm as she struggles to cope with her stress. When her classmate Paige walks in on her bleeding in the bathroom, she realizes what has happened and implores her to stop and get help.
Look, okay, I totally get that you don't want to talk to me, but
My arm's fine.
I'm not talking about your arm. You need to talk to someone like Miss Sauvé or...
All I need is for you to leave me alone like you normally do.
It takes some convincing, but Ellie eventually opens up to her and agrees to talk about her problems instead of hurting herself. In a single episode, Degrassi succinctly portrays why self-harm is not a solution, while also making sure to treat its teenage character with kindness and understanding.
I wasted your time.
No. You'll talk when you're ready.
Number 8, Claire loses her baby. When Drew and Claire learn that they're expecting a baby boy, they're both happy and excited.
We are having a boy. We should name him Adam.
Told that the pregnancy is a healthy one, Claire continues to devote herself to preparations for his arrival. Sadly, the baby meets a similar fate to his late namesake when Claire is told that he's died in the womb.
I'm afraid I have some upsetting news. I've double-checked the battery on the device, and we still have further tests to run on the baby, but I'm no longer hearing a heartbeat.
The plot was far from the first Degrassi pregnancy story, but it was the first to end in a miscarriage. This unprecedented tragedy was worsened by the fact that Claire had just beaten cancer and wasn't sure if she would ever have another chance to have her own child.
I just can't believe we're never gonna get to know him. We might never know why. It's just not fair.
Number 7, Adam's death. When Degrassi started, mobile phones were still pretty rudimentary. Almost a decade later, the show was still airing, and writers had to come up with episodes about the tech that was now integral to their new audience's lives.
Come on, Signal. Yes.
In Cannonball, Adam is desperate to send a text message to his ex-girlfriend Becky. Without cell service, he goes for a drive, and is delighted to see his phone light up with a message as he's driving. He answers immediately, but soon realizes he's going to crash into another car. Trying to avoid it, he hits a tree instead.
You guys can fix him, right?
That's the plan. But first we need to operate.
Serving as a grim reminder that life is always more important than a text.
Open your eyes now. Open your eyes now. It's time to leave. It's time to leave me.
Number 6, Rick puts Terry in a coma. When it comes to media depictions of domestic violence, it's relatively common for the victim to emerge victorious. There's often a big, powerful scene where they tell off their abuser and finally leave them. Unfortunately, real life isn't always as cinematic.
I'm fine, Paige. There's nothing to worry about.
So what, you've just forgiven Creep Boy for beating you up?
He apologized.
Degrassi portrays this inconvenient reality with Terry and Rick's relationship. Though she sees the warning signs, Terry returns to Rick after he hurts her in the hopes that he'll change.
Come back. We'll ignore Paige.
No, let's walk.
It's really far.
She called me the psycho.
That's just Paige being Paige.
That makes it okay?
Their argument ends horrifically, with his actions putting her in a coma. Unfortunately, this unique portrayal is undermined by the fact that Degrassi completely drops the character's plot afterwards. Terry moves and is never heard from again.
We still don't know the extent of the damage, but she came through the surgery. That's one big hurdle.
Number 5, Paige loses her trial. For Paige Michalchuk, one schoolgirl crush turns into a horrific nightmare.
Just take it slow, okay? Dean, I said slow.
The 14-year-old cool girl has eyes for rival school soccer player Dean Walton, but she isn't ready to get intimate with him. He ignores her lack of consent, leaving her shaken and confused.
I didn't even want to do it, Hazel. I said no over and over.
You said no? And he didn't listen?
Her best friend Hazel eventually convinces her that what he did was wrong, and she reports the assault to the authorities. What follows is an infuriatingly hard-to-watch trial, in which Dean is found not guilty, in spite of Paige's harrowing first-hand testimony. The reason for the verdict is cited to be a lack of proof, which is all too common in these kinds of cases.
It's the kind of case that keeps me awake at night, because it's not the kind a justice in my position wants to hear. Given that there are no eyewitnesses and no physical evidence, I have no choice but to find the defendant not guilty. Mr. Walton, you are free to go.
Number 4, The Attack. Thanks to a prominent role played by Degrassi's most famous alumni, rapper Drake, Time Stands Still is probably one of the most well-known episodes of The Next Generation.
The whole time you pretended to be my friend. You made me do this.
For those unfamiliar, the two-parter portrays a kid bringing a weapon to school and the events that lead up to it. Even if you know what's going to happen, it still remains genuinely tense and occasionally shocking.
You already shot someone. Stop!
It shows viewers how devastating these extreme acts of violence are. The perpetrator, Rick Murray's victim Jimmy, is shown to be paralyzed for the rest of his life. It is a lasting reminder of one of the show's most intense and relevant moments.
I am raising hell as far as I can tell. I am all alone.
Number 3. JT is stabbed. In the early days of Degrassi, you could always count on JT for comic relief, so it was shocking when the show began developing his character outside of his usual archetype.
Yeah, a lot has changed since then. We've moved on, grown up, both matured. Even you, JT.
He gets Liberty pregnant, gets involved with illicit substances, and gets into a fight with a group of guys from a rival school. That fight would ultimately lead to his demise, with 2 Lakehurst students stabbing him outside a party.
Somebody help! Please! Somebody!
Liberty is able to get JT to a hospital, but it's too late. The students of Degrassi and viewers at home were stunned. His unexpected death became one of the show's most tragic moments, spotlighting how quickly and prematurely a young life can end.
You're joking.
I'm sorry. Your brother's gone.
It's gone?
Number 2. Cam's death. Degrassi is no stranger to death, but it still comes as a deeply saddening surprise when Cam takes his own life.
There was a mistake. I just saw him the other day. Cam is obviously fine.
He's found on school grounds afterwards, and the heartbreaking news sends shockwaves through the school. His peers feel a range of complex emotions, including guilt over his passing, thinking that if they had behaved differently, he would still be alive. These are all normal feelings to have following the death of a loved one at their own hands.
I know how hard it is to be away from home, and he hated hockey, but I didn't care. I still pushed. Should have been easier on him.
The show's honest and nuanced depiction of the difficult issue certainly made teens going through similar situations feel seen and helped them process their grief.
Okay, well, if you need me, know where you live. Got it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Jane's mistreatment. Jane Says is undeniably one of Degrassi's darkest episodes. The 2-parter deals with its titular character unearthing her past trauma. The plot kicks off with Jane's father coming back to town.
I didn't know she was still so mad at me. Did she ever tell you why?
Carlos, she was 5 years old when you left. It's bound to leave some scars.
She can't shake an unexplainable, uneasy feeling she has about him, and seeing him in person brings it all rushing back. She realizes that he abused her in the past, something she had since blocked out. Thankfully, when she works up the courage to tell her mom and brother about it, she's believed, and her dad is ostracized from the family.
She's got it right. Lucas, come on. You should go. No one in this family ever wants to see your face again.
They attend counseling to work through their feelings. Needless to say, the storyline shines a spotlight on the realities of such terrible mistreatment, serving as an important reminder to support survivors.
The healing process isn't easy, but with all of you working together as a family, this is an important first step.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.